You've tuned in to the Top 10 Garden Show with garden expert Ken Lain. Join the conversation daily as he answers timely garden questions. Email Ken a question directly from your phone to his desktop through the web at watersgardencenter.com. That's Waters with 2 T's, gardencenter.com. Or visit face-to-face throughout the week where he can be found at Waters Garden Center in Prescott. Now welcome your host, Ken Lain.
So if you are going to grow tomatoes this spring, here's some insider tips that'll really put a game changer for you. Or I'll cover some mistakes, and here's some insider tips that I do that have tomatoes that are just juicy, that melt in your mouth. Oh my gosh, you're so good. The one I find that is a rookie move. So newer folks, they start to enrich the soil, and it's lots of manures. And manure is good. You need manure. But if that's all that you do, what happens is these plants will just ignite with new growth, and you'll get this huge tomato. It's the size of I am. I mean, 6 foot tall. It's indeterminate tomatoes. They keep growing and growing and growing. It's almost no limit, except for winter finally takes them out, but they just keep growing. But they haven't set a fruit. What that is, we've loaded the soil up with too much rich manure. And so it's all nitrogen. Manure is nitrogen. Remember, nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, the 3 numbers. First number is nitrogen. That's green growth, foliage, grass. That's they love. Grass, lawn food is 2100. All green growth. The middle number, phosphorus, that's fruits. Fruits and roots get you, that's what you want, tomatoes. You want that middle number, nitrogen, green growth. Phosphorus is the middle number. Potash is the last number. And that's stem sturdiness. How upright will it stand up in the wind? Are the leaves thick enough to keep from burning? Do the stems hold up the fruits of your eggplants and your cucumbers? And that's sturdiness, disease resistance. So nitrogen, phosphorus, potash. That middle number, you really do need some middle numbers for your tomatoes. So that's bone meal. Superphosphate. Superphosphate is 18, 0. It's all phosphorus. So when I'm planting especially my summer plants, things that are forming a fruit on them, well, remember that middle number, fruits and roots. If you want more fruits, put that on there. Deeper roots, put some phosphorus on there. I'll sprinkle a little bit of that underneath each of my plants. So I'll dig my hole for my tomato. I'll sprinkle a touch of, I like superphosphate, put some superphosphate on there. I'll kick just a touch of dirt over it. So the roots are going through this phosphate, through the phosphorus, picks it up, and I get tremendous fruits. It's a game changer. And then I plant the rest of the plant. Another insider tip. For tomatoes, things that grow fast and the fruits swell up some. So my pumpkins, I do this. I notice squash, it helps a lot. Peppers, game changer. Tomatoes, especially. We make a product called Aqua Boost here at the Garden Center. Aqua Boost are polymer crystals. What polymer crystals do is they hold like 200 times their weight in water. And so they keep the root area around a vegetable plant, a flower, of something that's needs more consistent water. It keeps the water regulation much better. What happens is tomatoes especially are notorious for real thick, hard, tough skins, or the skin will actually swell up during the evening and crack and then shrink during the day. And that ebb and flow, that plumpiness and then shrinking down causes this cracking on your fruits. Well, Aqua Boost, when I'm putting my superphosphate down to the bottom where the roots are, I'll sprinkle some phosphate and some Aqua Boost crystals underneath the roots. So it keeps that soil, can absorb all that moisture, and it regulates. It gives it back to the plant as it needs it to the heat of the day. So I have less swelling up during the evening, shrinking during the day, the heat of the day. This ebb and flow tends to cause cracking of the skin or toughness. It's a game changer. So if you want sweet, juicy, I think it's unique to an arid climate. So spring is very dry and windy until July. And then our monsoons come. But between now and then, The fruits can get stressed during the day and really gets plumped back up during the evening, and they just grow. The aqua boost crystals and the superphosphate, you do those two things, you will have better tomatoes, better squash, better cucumbers, better beans. I mean, just if it's forming a fruit, you're going to get more of that because you're giving it the nutrients it needs. I think you need some manure, but if that's all you give it, it's not enough. And so that's where I actually created it's called fruit and vegetable food. It's an organic food. It's got 6-4-4-7. It's got 6% nitrogen, 4% phosphorus, 4% potash, and 7% calcium. Calcium is another one you can be lacking in your gardens. Calcium is it's what causes flavor, size of fruit. It also prevents blossom end rot. So if you've ever had a tomato that had a black spot where the flower was, or peppers can do that. Squash will actually, let's say zucchini, will start forming, then it turns yellow and falls off. These are all calcium deficiencies. We have a lack of calcium here in this central highlands of Arizona. I know that about your garden, so I created a fertilizer just for our gardens. It's called Water's Fruit and Vegetable Food. 6-4-4-7% calcium. You might give it some calcium. That's as far as I can go. I'm out of time. I'll go deeper. But right now, let's take a break. Be right back.
Water's Garden companion plants of the month are lilac, poppy, purple plum, and our white night candy tuft.
Masses of fragrant white flowers cover mounds of perennial green foliage.
Extreme heat and cold tolerant, this award winner repeatedly blooms without deadheading for super easy care.
Butterflies, bees, hummingbirds are going to love your backyard again.
White Night Candy Tuft can only be found at Water's Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott. The Top 10 Gardener, your source for timely garden advice, seasonally correct for the garden, guaranteed to make a difference in your yard this season.